This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome in, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide in studio, and the summer months are upon us here in July. All-Star break coming up. Red Sox heating up, or staying hot, I guess we should say. They've been really hot, just coming off the road trip, a little three-city road trip, a road trip that we thought might be tougher than it ended up being in New York, in Washington, and then obviously ending with Kansas City. 7-2 on that road trip. Their final road trip, they're back home now, obviously, Texas and Toronto, to end the first half. Looking pretty good on that final road trip.
Yeah, they're looking really good right now. I mean, the offense is rolling, right? We saw for a little bit, they were kind of struggling in the offense. It was kind of all or nothing, but now we're seeing more consistent runs, 5 or 6 or 7 runs a game now, and the pitching is starting to come around. Bullpen, besides Kimbrel, a little shaky getting to him, but overall, I mean, the team's just been playing so well, racking up the wins. They just got to kind of straighten up against the Yankees when they play them, right?
Right. I mean, that was the only blemish on this whole series, obviously sweeping the Nationals in a series that we thought might be tougher. 4th of July, the 11 o'clock morning start, but the Nationals are a team that's they're kind of in disarray right now. Middling team, about 500, but the Red Sox, you mentioned, a lot of pitching, except the bullpen. The starting pitching has pitched well. One guy who hasn't pitched great, kind of struggling a little bit, David Price. He had that stretch there. He had 7 out of 8 quality starts after his carpal tunnel injury, and he looked good. Then he struggled against the Yankees, giving up a bunch of runs. His last time out was mediocre. They got the win because their offense is so good. But is that something we should be concerned about, or is it? I mean, it's not terrible. Maybe if he stops at this coming start, it's okay, but a little bit of a concern.
Well, that Yankee team going up against David Price, it's a bad matchup for him. I mean, with all those righties, those sluggers going up against lefty David Price, it's a bad matchup. But we've seen in David Price's career, he hasn't had the best numbers against the Yankees. So whatever it is, I mean, especially this year, it's a bad matchup for him. But like you said, 7 of 8 starts, quality starts, that was good. And you'd hope after that Yankee start, he would follow it up with another better start. Went up against the Royals, a little shaky there. The team was down 0-3. Finally, they scored 4 runs, gave him the lead back, and he immediately gave up the lead with 3 hit batters in that inning. That was a little strange. It's definitely concerning with a guy like David Price. He's supposed to essentially kind of be ace caliber. I mean, he's getting paid like an ace.
Yes, he is.
It's concerning. He's been good at times this year, but the last 2 starts, I think it's definitely looking like a bit of a problem.
Right, so after this Texas series, they play Toronto to wrap it up. He'll get his final start before the All-Star break, and that's one of those ones. He's back at home. He gets things going, gets back on track, and then you don't have to worry about it. Obviously, if he puts together another tough start, then you start to worry a little bit more. A pitcher who we don't need to worry about, Chris Sale, he's dominant. He just continues to rack up the strikeouts, another 12 strikeout game. But do we have to worry about him in the second half? He's fallen off, not just last year. It wasn't just a Red Sox thing. He's always done this in his career. What do they have to watch for to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, so it kind of felt like the first month and a half of the season, Chris Sale was maybe holding back a little bit. They were trying to kind of ease him into the season, trying to make him last longer. And his numbers weren't that great. His ERA was right around 3, maybe 3.5 for a while. But recently he's dialed it up again. He's hitting 99, even 100 at times. I mean, he's looking just like regular Chris Sale. But it's a little concerning just with how hard he's throwing, because come the end of the season, that arm is going to tire. I mean, just his durability. You definitely got to think about that for the future term, because you're going to need him come October.
Well, and you're right, because at the beginning of the year, he was a little bit slower starting. He didn't have the strikeout numbers. He didn't have the pinpoint control. But he's ramped it up, and you wonder if he'll do that for a couple months and then maybe kind of dial it back down, saving something in the tank for the playoffs, maybe. I mean, that would be a great scenario to have him get on the playoffs with him getting hot. And finally, before we hit the break, the Red Sox MVP for the first half as we come to a close here. Obviously past the halfway point in games played, but the traditional halfway point All-Star break coming up. Who do you have as the first half Red Sox MVP?
I mean, first half, you could talk about not just Red Sox MVP, all of baseball MVP. They have 2 candidates, Mookie Betts and JD Martinez. I mean, Mookie Betts is all around arguably the best player besides maybe Mike Trout. But JD Martinez, what he's doing with his bat right now, I mean, it's just unbelievable. People are saying it's one of the best free agent signings ever. I mean, with the amount of home runs he's hit before the All-Star break,
Right.
it's incredible. He's on pace for, 60-plus home runs? It's incredible. To me, it's hard to say. Mookie Betts with that 340 batting average is incredible, but probably right now it's looking like JD Martinez with those power numbers.
Right. I mean, you're splitting hairs because you're right. They're both so good.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts plays defense, so that adds another layer of value to him. But either way, we're not going to complain. Two great players. They're both making the All-Star team.
Okay.
We'll talk about that All-Star team when we come back. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.